741 rupees. That's what this flight cost us, from Bengaluru to Sindhudurg and then onward to Goa with a free transfer. Sounds like a scam, right? I thought so too. But this is not a scam, a glitch, or even a travel hack. It is the result of a quiet revolution in India's skies called the UDAN scheme. So we decided to test it. This is our journey, and this is how India is making flying possible for the Aam Naagrik. The day began like any other. We took a cab from our home, then to the airport. It cost us about 800 rupees. What if I told you a crazy story? I'm trying to fly to Goa in just 741 rupees, and that's my producer Madhu in the background there. So we came across this scheme called the UDAN scheme, right? It's called as Regional Connectivity Scheme, and a lot of these smaller airports and air routes are actually subsidized by the government of India. We were checking the cheapest flights out of Bangalore, and it was showing that the flight to Sindhudurg is actually just about 740 rupees on a good day. And to try this out and see whether it's actually true and how this is helping a lot of people, we thought, how about we actually fly there? And turns out, the airlines is also like trying to give us a discount, plus they're arranging a free transfer all the way to Panjim. So this is going to be a baller of a scheme. Follow our journey and we will explain how this whole scheme works and whether you can also avail cheap tickets across different routes and enjoy vacations without having to splurge thousands and thousands of rupees trying to get to places like Goa. DigiYatra was not working, so we joined the regular queue, cleared the security the usual way and hit the food court immediately to grab some lunch. Our producer Madhu grabbed a quick lunch and it cost 600 rupees right there. Our flight was on time, boarding was smooth, and we were about to do something most people in this country still haven't: fly to Sindhudurg from Bengaluru. The flight was with Fly 91, a brand new regional airline flying under the UDAN scheme. The aircraft, a 70-seater ATR 72. It was barely half full. About 15 people were a part of a travel group, and the rest were the scattered solo passengers, including us. The hospitality, honestly excellent. Warm greetings, Alpenliebe chocolates, face tissues, thoughtful little touches. We even got a light in-flight meal just for 250 rupees. Simple but satisfying. Some may think it is expensive, but come on, you pay much more than that in an airline. As we approached the Konkan coast, the weather got a little rough, and considering all the events that have been happening recently, we got a little scared. But it had been raining all day, and with turbulence kicking in, we were, let's just say, alert. But the crew stayed calm, the flight was smooth, and soon we touched down at a destination most Indians have never even heard of: Sindhudurg. The first thing that hits you at Sindhudurg Airport, it is absolutely lush green. The surroundings are green, it has a peaceful runway, a single terminal. This was not just an airport, it felt like a well-kept secret. We stepped out expecting a coach to Goa because Fly 91 advertises a free transfer to Panjim, but there was no coach in sight. The staff scrambled, they checked with their team, and finally arranged a cab, not just to the border but all the way to Baga Beach in Goa. So we just got off Sindhudurg Airport, which is also quite new. I think it is just about 4-5 years old. And the flight from Bengaluru cost just about 741 rupees all the way to Sindhudurg, which is just north of Goa, about an hour and a half, 2 hours away maximum. And the airlines, Fly 91, was actually kind enough to give us a free transfer all the way to Panjim as well. So we're in the cab there with our co-passengers who came on the flight, and we're going all the way there. That's a 2-hour ride, easily worth 2500 rupees, given to us for free. We were speaking to some of the locals who have been ferrying cabs over here, and they said that the flights to Bengaluru and Hyderabad are very recent, so it's just been a few weeks since the flights have been announced. In fact, the routes were only finalized a few years ago, and that is how the UDAN scheme actually works, right? The UDAN scheme is called Ude Desh ka Aam Naagrik. So if you look at the Prime Minister, he had this very wacky, tacky slogan for Udan scheme. He said Hawai Chappal se Hawai Jahaz. It basically meant that he wanted farmers, he wanted cobblers, he wanted the common men to access the aircraft without having it to be a class divide. So regional airlines is very underrated because there are so many destinations. India had just about 60 to 70 airports till 2014, which means that we added just one airport per year. But from 2014 to 2025, we've added nearly 70 more, which means that we are adding 8 to 9 airports every year. That is the rate at which smaller tier 2, tier 3 and even smaller towns are connected through airstrips and airways and everything. And Udan scheme is mainly helpful for a lot of these disconnected regions which do not have good roadways but has a lot of potential for growth, tourism, and people also generally find it difficult to access. So places in the northeast, places in Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, where there's a lot of tribal areas, where there's hilly areas, places like that have been connected through Udan scheme. And we discovered on Skyscanner, when we were actually doing a little bit of research on what are the cheapest flights from Bangalore, we saw that there was a flight just at 741 rupees. So inclusive of taxes, it may come up to around 1000 rupees, but this is the experience that we had. And the flight was so freaking good. We were given some chocolates, we were given some hand sanitizers. There was Amar Chitrakatha, which was the best thing in the aircraft. Sindhudurg, once just a dot on the map, has beaches just like Goa, forts like Goa, and it has Maharashtra's best temples, seafood, history. But nobody outside of Maharashtra knew, because there was no easy way to get to Sindhudurg. A film called Picasso was even shot near the airport. The region has always had stories. It did not just have runways. The way Udan works is that the government subsidizes half of the aircraft's costs. So that way, a lot of the regional aircrafts, there are not a lot of takers because it's very expensive. Like, even if you have to travel to Goa from Bangalore, you have to spend a minimum of 2,000 to 2,500 rupees, and on expensive days it goes up to 8,000 or 10,000 rupees, especially during November and December, during the peak tourist season. And that's the crazy amount of money that people spend to reach Goa. So here's what we actually spent: 800 rupees for the cab to the airport, 600 rupees on lunch before boarding, 250 rupees for the food on the flight, and 0 rupees for the 2-hour taxi drive to Goa. 741 rupees for the flight itself, and a grand total 2400 rupees inclusive of everything. And for that price, we flew across the country, reached a coastal town, and we were dropped off right at our residence in Baga Beach. So we are about to reach Goa, and unfortunately we could not stay back in Devbag. Otherwise we would have loved to see Devbag, Ratnagiri and all these areas, right? You may have heard of them for the Ratnagiri fort, for example, or for the mangoes, Devgarh mangoes and Ratnagiri mangoes that we actually get in different parts of the country. But this is an alternative. Like, people don't understand basic topography and geography, right? It's the same parts of the Western Ghats that continues. This is what people should explore. They should explore more than, beaches and party zones and all of that, because वो तो रहेगा ही anywhere that you go. तो महेश जी, अगर कोई आपको कांटेक्ट करना चाहते हैं तो आपका नंबर और वो सब बता दीजिए हमारे दर्शकों को।
मेरा नंबर है 9158288319।
तो अगर आप
व्हाट्सएप कर सकते हो, या फिर एयरपोर्ट पे रहेंगे तो एयरपोर्ट पे टैक्सी सर्विस शुरू है, उधर भी मैं रहता हूँ। उधर भी मतलब गाड़ी बहुत है, मतलब वहाँ से भी हायर करके आप घूम सकते हो।
तो he is the man to go in case you guys are planning to come down to Sindhudurg or something. Give him a call. Number will be written down in the description as well. He was telling me about local YouTubers who we can actually collaborate with, and this is how friendly the locals are actually. Instead of getting treated by grumpy waiters and cab drivers in Goa, where they try to literally scam you off of everything. So this is a region where people are extremely innocent, they're friendly, they're nice, because it's also slowly developing. They also will go out of their way to do things for you. So yeah, check it out and you let us know if this trip worked out for you. See you soon. A direct Bengaluru to Goa flight alone would have cost you 3,000 to 6,000 rupees. That's the power of Udan. It flips the economics of travel. Since 2016, Over 1.5 crore Indians have flown under the UDAN scheme. India now has 159 operational airports compared to just 74 in 2014. That's not just growth, that's transformation. The government has operationalized 625 new routes, connected 88 destinations, including heliports and even seaplane water aerodromes. Farmers now move produce faster through Krishi Udan. Remote towns like Leelabadi, Ajmer, Mysore and Khajuraho have seen a boost in tourism thanks to this. Udan is not just about planes, it is about mobility, commerce, access and opportunity. Airlines was meant for the urban elite to travel, but today everybody gets to travel on an aircraft. And here's the best part, the airlines flying these routes aren't legacy players. Fly 91, Fly Big, India One Air, Star Air, all new, all regional, all focused on Bharat. They're not flying to Delhi, to London. They're flying to places that needed to be on the map and finally are. And 741 rupees, that is not just a fare, it's a statement that air travel is no longer for the elite. That small towns don't need to wait for decades to be connected. That with the right policy, real things can move. People, ideas, opportunities. We started the day with a cab ride and ended it on a Konkan beach. This was not a sponsored trip. This was not a PR stunt. This was a real journey. One that reflects what's quietly changing in this country. This is Bodh, and we'll keep flying to places that were never meant to be on the map until they were. Until next time, stay tuned.